They laughed the moment she stepped into the hangar bay. Other cadets stood in sharp new academy jackets that shimmered under the white ceiling lights. Their boots were polished, their collars stiff, their faces confident. She walked past them in worn brown leather. The jacket had creases along the sleeves and a faded patch stitched over the heart. Blue circle, white bird, rising from fire, old earth written in thread that had begun to fray. Someone snorted, someone whispered museum piece, someone else said, did she get lost on the way to a history exhibit? She heard all of it. She kept walking. Her name was Myra Hale. She had grown up on a small mining moon at the edge of mapped space, far from the core, far from clean uniforms and easy gravity. Stopped near the registration desk and placed her data chip on the scanner. The clerk glanced at her jacket, raised an eyebrow, said nothing. Behind her, the laughter grew louder. A tall cadet with silver insignia on his collar stepped closer. Nice costume. He said. It is not a costume, she replied. He grinned. You know, this is the Interstellar Defense Academy, right? Not a reenactment club. She met his eyes. I know exactly where I am. The grin faded. Just a little orientation. Sirens echoed through the bay. Cadets moved toward the main hall in tight groups. Myra walked alone inside the hall, the ceiling arched high above them. Holographic battle maps floated in the air. Images of destroyed fleets and burning worlds rotated slowly. Instructor stepped onto the central platform, tall scar down one side of his jaw, eyes sharp enough to cut metal. The room fell silent. You are here because you scored high, he said. You will remain only if you prove higher. His gaze swept across the rows. It paused on Myra, on the old lever, on the patch. For half a breath, something flickered in his expression, then it was gone. Your first evaluation begins in 1 hour, he said. Simulation only, pain filters at 30% failure, recorded permanently. The hall emptied fast. In the locker corridor, the tall cadet from before leaned against a wall, still wearing that thing. Into combat, he asked. Yes, it will not help you. It is not for help, she said. It is for memory. He shook his head. Suit yourself. The first simulation dropped them into a fractured colony, city skies, burning red buildings, cracked open civilians running in every direction. Enemy drones swarmed above. Myra moved without hesitation. She did not chase targets. She watched patterns. She listened. On her, moonstorms came without warning. If you did not read the air, you did not live. Langer drone dipped lower than the rest. Its shadow passed over broken glass. She fired once. It felt to her right. 2 cadets froze under crossfire. One shouted orders. No one listened. Myra ran through smoke, grabbed one by the shoulder, dragged him behind a collapsed transport. Move, she said. Follow my steps. They followed. When the timer ended, only 3 cadets remained. Active. Myra was one of them. Back in the debrief chamber, the tall cadet stared at the results screen. Beginner luck, he muttered. She did not answer. The second trial was worse. 0 light mag boots, no communication inside the dark. She felt calm. The leather jacket creaked softly when she shifted. It smelled faintly of oil and cold wind. Her grandmother had given it to her the night before she left home. Your great-grandmother wore this in the collapse, she had said. When Earth burned and the colonies broke away, when supply lines failed and no one came to help, Myra had been a child when she first heard those stories. Soldiers holding broken lines, pilots flying ships that should not have flown, humans surviving because quitting was not an option. The dark corridor, something scraped along metal. Myra slowed her breathing. 1, 2, 3 footsteps, light, careful. She stepped aside. Just before a training blade sliced the air where her throat had been, she pivoted, tapped the attacker's chest plate. His suit flashed red. Another came from behind. She ducked, used the wall to push herself upward. Mag boots locking and releasing in rhythm. When the lights returned, She was the last one standing, again this time. No one laughed. Whispers changed tone. Who is she? Where did she train? Why is she wearing that relic on the fourth day? The instructors stopped hiding their attention. Cameras followed. Her squad evaluations became harder. Live fire drones, civilian variables, unstable gravity fields. Mara adapted. She rerouted power to seal corridors. She redirected panicked cadets into safer angles. She conserved ammo while others emptied clips in fear. The tall cadet, whose name she learned was Kellen, began to watch her differently. During a break he approached her quietly. That patch, he said. What does it mean? Phoenix Battalion, she replied. Never heard of it. Most have. No. Hesitated. Why wear it here? Because they think history is dead, she said. It is not. Final evaluation day arrived without ceremony. The entire class gathered in the main arena. Instructors lined the upper deck. The scarred commander stood at the center rail, hands behind his back. Scenario begins now, he said. The arena shifted. Walls, rising explosions, sounding. A transport ship crippled in orbit. Escape pods failing. Objective secure. Engineering stabilize. Core evacuate. Survivors up. Overwhelming. Myra's squad rushed forward. Kellen looked at her. Lead, he said. No sarcasm, no laughter. She nodded. Engineering access will bottleneck, she said. We split to draw fire. 3 with me. They moved. Blaster pulses, scorched walls, heat alarms, screamed. A support beam collapsed ahead, blocking the direct route. Others would have tried to blast through. Myra turned left. Maintenance shaft, she said. Kellen followed without question. Inside the narrow passage, sparks rained from ruptured conduits. Gravity flickered halfway through the shaft. A heavy combat drone dropped from the ceiling. Armor-thick cannons charging. There was no room to dodge. Mira stepped forward. Target the joint behind the shoulder, she said. We cannot penetrate that, Kellen replied. We do not need to, just slow it. They fired together, shots striking the joint repeatedly. The drones staggered. One cannon misaligned. Myra leaped to the side, grabbed a loose conduit, ripped it free. Electricity arced wildly. She slammed the conduit into the exposed joint. The drone convulsed. Systems overloaded. It crashed against the shaft wall. Path clearly reached engineering with seconds to spare. Core temperature rising. Manual override required. Radiation warnings flash. Kellen looked at her. 30% pain filter, he said. No, she answered. She pulled off her outer glove, placed her hand on the emergency lever. Heat seared through her palm. Even with filters, she did not let go. The lever locked into place. Core stabilized. Evacuation complete. Simulation ended. Filled the arena. Results projected above them. Highest survival percentage in Academy history. Mara stepped back into formation, breathing steady. The commander descended from the upper deck, boots striking metal with deliberate rhythm. He stopped in front of herb clothes. His scar looked older than the others in the room. He studied the patch. That insignia, he said quietly. Where did you get it? It belonged to my great-grandmother, she replied. Captain Elara Hale, Phoenix Battalion. A long pause. The commander's jaw tightened. Adela Hale, he repeated. Us, sir. He exhaled slowly. She held the western ridge during the last day of the collapse, he said. When the evacuation ships were grounded, when orbital support failed. Mira felt her pulse quicken. You knew her, she asked. Ty was a junior officer under her command, he said. I survived because she refused to retreat. The arena was silent enough to hear distant machinery. He looked around at the other cadets. You laughed at this jacket, he said. No one answered. This patch was worn by soldiers who stood when retreat was logical, who fought when supply was gone, who chose survival over surrender. He turned back to Myru. Move like her, he said. Not fast, not reckless. Certain. She swallowed. Thank you, sir. He straightened. Cadet Hale, welcome to the Academy. The words carried through The Hulk. Helen glanced at her jacket again, this time with respect. Thus, the formation dismissed, the cadets walked past her in quiet lines. No laughter, no whispers, only nods. Mira stepped out of the arena into the cool corridor beyond. She touched the patch gently. The leather was old, the thread worn, but it had endured fire. War generations. They had laughed at her old Earth jacket. Now they understood. Some things do not fade with time, some flames wait, and when the moment comes, they rise again. Asterisk.